What if Bigfoot was filmed in 2026? In June 2026, a father was driving down a wooded road in Ohio with his kids. The kids screamed. They had seen something, a figure, standing in the trees, just inside the tree line, dark against the darker forest behind. The father turned the car around. He pulled over. He started filming with his phone. He posted the video to TikTok. The video, which runs just 9 seconds long, shows a tall, dark figure standing perfectly still among the trees, the kind of stillness that is impossible to fake, the kind that comes from a creature that knows it has been seen. The video has now been viewed more than 17 million times. The comments are split between believers and skeptics, but no one is dismissing the kids who screamed. The kids were the first to see it. The dad was the second. The phone was the third witness. The video is the case. It was June 2026. The Bigfoot wave was just beginning. In March 2026, the Bigfoot Society podcast, a small group of independent researchers in Ohio, started getting reports from Portage County, from the wooded hills near the Mahoning River. 6 reports in 4 days. Each one described the same thing. A figure, 8 feet tall, moving between the trees at the edge of the road, walking with a long loping stride, not running, not stopping, just moving. The researchers mapped the reports. The sightings clustered along a 15-mile stretch of the Mahoning River Valley, with a tight radius around a few specific landmarks. Jeremiah, who hosts the Big Society podcast, told a local television station that the figure had likely moved into the area after a hard winter thaw, possibly part of a small family group. The Ohio Sasquatch Project investigated. The Ohio Bigfoot Society investigated. A local television station sent a reporter. The reporter found tracks in the soft earth near the river. He captured audio of howls that did not match any known coyote or dog. He picked up a heat signature on a thermal camera that did not match any known animal in the Ohio woods. The flap, as Bigfoot researchers call a sudden cluster of sightings, did not last long. It ended as quickly as it began. But it was real. Something was in those woods in March 2026. Something was 8 feet tall. On the 5th of July 2026, in the early morning hours after the 4th of July weekend, a man named Kevin Klimas was driving home to Rhode Island from a friend's cabin in Voluntown, Connecticut. He left the cabin. He drove down the long dirt driveway. He crossed a small bridge. He saw something cross the road in front of him. It was bipedal. It was 8.5 feet tall. It had coarse, matted, greasy-looking brown hair covering every part of its body he could see. Its legs were shorter than its torso. Its arms hung down to right around knee height. He slammed on the brakes. He did not hit it. The creature crossed the road in 2 strides and was gone into the woods. Klimas sat in his car, frozen, for at least a minute. He was a skeptic before the sighting. He is not a skeptic anymore. He reported the sighting to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. The lead investigator, Mike Young, classified the report as Class A, meaning BFRO believes Klimas saw what he said he saw. The detail that broke through to the national press, the line that was quoted in the New York Post, in Fox News, in the New York Daily News, in the Boston Globe, was this. The investigator asked Klimas if the Bigfoot he saw was male or female. Klimas said he could not tell. The investigator asked if the creature had any visible sexual characteristics. Klimas said no. The investigator asked specifically. Klimas said, in the words that would be quoted hundreds of times in the next 48 hours, there were no boobs. That was the line. The Bigfoot wave of 2026 had its meme. 5 days after the Connecticut sighting, on the 10th of July, 2026, a woman in California was dropping her grandson off at his summer camp in the Sierra National Forest. The camp is roughly an hour north of Fresno. The grandmother saw something in the woods near the camp entrance. It was standing upright between 2 pine trees. It was about 8 feet tall. It had brownish-red hair. It had unusually long arms. The grandmother described the figure to the camp staff. The camp staff reported the sighting. The sighting was logged with the local Bigfoot researcher network. The Sierra National Forest is a known Bigfoot territory. There have been credible sightings in the Sierra for decades. The 2026 sighting was different because of timing. The Connecticut sighting was 5 days old. The national press was still running the no boobs line. The grandmother's sighting dropped into a news cycle that was already primed. The two sightings, 5 days apart, on opposite coasts, were enough to make the Bigfoot wave a national story. The TikTok video was 17 million views. The Connecticut report was Class A. The Sierra sighting was a credible witness with a known pattern. The Bigfoot wave of 2026 was now running in two separate news cycles at the same time. The wave had a shape. The shape was a herd on the move. In June 2026, a few weeks before the Connecticut and Sierra sightings, residents in a rural area of Ontario started reporting Bigfoot encounters. One observer described the moment. The birds stopped singing. The wind seemed to calm. A peculiar stillness took over the surroundings. The observer detected some movement ahead. A strong, earthy scent lingered in the air. A large figure gradually emerged from behind the trees. The figure disappeared back into the woods. The next morning, another observer claimed to have spotted two creatures at dawn. One was large. The other was smaller, with a distinct cinnamon hue. There was an earthy smell. The duo seemed to be rummaging through trash. When the witness knocked on a tree to frighten them away, they responded with a knock. "That startled me," the witness said. The dimensions, scent, and behavior closely resembled a Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Within days, these accounts spread online, contributing to the Bigfoot Mapping Project, a comprehensive database that has now cataloged more than 16,600 sightings across North America. The accounts reignited a long-running debate in Ontario about whether an undiscovered large primate could be hiding in the Canadian wilderness. A recent study proposed that the sightings are black bears. The Bigfoot community argues that even if most sightings are fabrications, the remaining unexplained experiences warrant further investigation. The two Ontario sightings, with the smell of earth and the response knock, were the kind that resist easy dismissal. The wave was not just an American wave, it was a continental wave. Over Memorial Day weekend, in May 2026, 10 teenagers took a camping trip to a national forest near McCall, Idaho. They reported several Bigfoot sightings. They claimed they heard something walking through the trees. They claimed they heard something whistling. They said they saw a tall 9-foot creature walking around on two legs more than once. One camper said the creature had dark, reflective eyes as it walked toward them. They also found handprints and a few cars around their camp. The teenagers were not experienced Bigfoot researchers. They were not the kind of witnesses that the national press usually takes seriously. But 10 teenagers, all reporting the same creature in the same location on the same weekend, was a hard story to dismiss. The Idaho State Police did not file a report. The McCall Ranger District did not file a report. But the Bigfoot Researcher Network logged the sightings. The Idaho Campground joined the list of credible 2026 sightings. The wave was building. Connecticut, Sierra, Ontario, Idaho. The pattern was not isolated. The pattern was continental. The figures were being seen across the entire northern half of the continent, all within the same 6-month window, all by credible witnesses. The question was no longer whether something was in the woods. The question was whether the woods had always had something in them, and we had simply never looked. Every 2026 sighting has a single point of comparison. October 1967. Bluff Creek, California. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. A horse trailer rented for the day. A stretch of creek bed in the Six Rivers National Forest. A woman in a roadside cafe who said she had seen a Bigfoot 2 weeks earlier. Patterson had a camera. Gimlin had a rifle. They drove into the woods. They waited. A figure came out of the trees. Patterson filmed. The film runs for 59.5 seconds. It shows a tall, dark, bipedal figure walking across a dry creek bed, glancing briefly at the camera, then moving into the trees. The figure has wide shoulders, no visible neck, a cone-shaped head, and a long stride. The film has been analyzed by biologists, anthropologists, and special effects artists for almost 60 years. None of them have been able to definitively prove it is a man in a suit. The film has also never been definitively proven to be a real animal. It sits in a category of its own. The 2026 sightings, from Connecticut to Ontario to Idaho, all return to the Patterson-Gimlin film. If a Bigfoot exists, the 2026 sightings are what a Bigfoot would look like. The film is the reference. The 2026 sightings are the matches. Look closer, and the matches tell a story. Connecticut, Sierra, Ontario, Idaho. Different forests, different states, different countries, different seasons. Yet each witness describes a similar shape. The matches share a height. The matches share a movement. The earthy smell drifts from every encounter. The dark, reflective eyes appear in nearly every report. And across all of it, the same figure, walking away from the camera into the trees 60 years later. June 2026. A TikTok video of a dark figure in Ohio. 17 million views. The 5th of July, 2026. Kevin Klimas in Connecticut. There were no boobs. The 10th of July, 2026. A grandmother in the Sierra. Brownish-red hair. October 1967. Bluff Creek, Patterson-Gimlin. 59.5 seconds. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has now documented more than 16,600 sightings across North America. The Bigfoot Mapping Project has more. The TikTok era has added hundreds of new sightings per year, mostly dismissed, some credible, a few unexplained. The 2026 wave with the Connecticut Class A, the Sierra Grandmother, the Ohio Flap, the Ontario Knock, the Idaho Campground, is the largest multi-sighting wave in recent memory. The wave is real. What the wave is, no one can say. Whether a herd is on the move, whether a creature we have always missed has finally been caught on video, whether the same animal has been walking the same paths for 60 years, none of these are settled. The figure in the TikTok video, the figure in Klimas's headlights, the figure in the grandmother's campground, the figure in Patterson's camera, the figure that walks into the trees every time might be one creature, or might be many. What you make of it is up to you. What if Bigfoot was filmed in 2026?